Okay, and we back. So it's the two vets today, the two veterans of D&D and role-playing games.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I think the music's still a bit loud.
You gotta remember, I'm a very quiet person.
And only lower the music so much. Okay, that should be good.
Hell yeah.
Alright, so because we have the two veterans today, we're going to be talking about stories from our past campaigns, current campaigns that we're already in, that outside of Tavern Brawlers. Do you want to take the first one then?
I'm trying to, because I'm in like two different D&D games right now. One, I play a tiefling grave cleric, and then the other one I play an air genasi artificer. So they're both kind of like interesting in their own respective sense. But the only thing that is popping into my head right now is the time I was playing a D&D. I was playing my grave cleric in a different campaign. And I rolled a natural 1 on initiative. And the DM went, "Yeah, by the way, you're stunned. You don't get a turn the first round of combat." Yeah, sorry. That's the rule. That's the official D&D rule. And I went,
That is not
"What?
the official D&D rule.
What?"
I like it.
Yeah.
I really
I
like
see.
it, but it's not the official one.
Yeah, I basically spent the 2 out of 3 rounds of combat because they beat the thing in 3 rounds of combat doing nothing. It's like cool.
I had a few combats when I was playing Zorn, my Tempest Cleric, Blue Dragonborn Tempest Cleric. So you can think of how those mechanics mesh together perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Oh, that's a lot of lightning. Thunder and lightning, very, very frightening.
But we were in a swamp, and I recently just got a Trident of Lightning, which is the Javelin of Lightning, but it's Trident themed for my character.
Yeah.
And the party was fighting scrabbling. No, what's the giant plant monster called again?
Oh, I just call it the swamp thing.
Yeah, but so basically, if it gets hit by lightning damage, it heals.
So you were basically useless that entire fight.
So
You were like,
it attacked us when we were camping. Zork, his intelligence is -2, or was -2. And yes, he had negative religion as a cleric.
No.
So
Oh, bud.
he set up camp as he just put like a bunch of random leaves that he found, sort of making a curtain around 3 trees, and then he had like 3 bags of broken glass from something. So he just scattered that around his little hut, and then he went to sleep. And then rest of the party was attacked. He woke up because of the commotion. He just looked out the window. It just threw the trident at the thing, and then went back to bed.
Oh.
So he just woke up, healed the monster the rest of the party was fighting, and went back to bed.
Oh, buddy. He basically, because how much damage did they get done on it? Did they like?
It was
like,
at like half health, and I
Oh.
healed it for a quarter of its max health.
Oh, bud.
Now, me as a player, I knew exactly what I was doing because the Monday before, we play games on Wednesdays. The Monday was the game where I ran. And we were doing Tomb of Annihilation. And my players were just trekking across the island, and they encountered this exact same thing. So I fully knew well what happens if it gets hit by lightning. My character didn't, and that's exactly.
No clue.
And my character, like, people can call me out for being, oh, that's being a dick move. I'm like, I mean, it's either I do
Well,
as a player.
Yeah, because like as a player, you have to like you know a lot. You've been playing for a long time. You know a lot about creatures. Realistically, what you know and what your character knows are vastly different.
Like, my character only had well, technically 3 ways of attacking, but I'm not including melee
Yeah.
in this, so really 2 ways. And that was Toll the Dead, the cantrip, which I was out of range of anyways.
Yeah.
And then everything else was just lightning damage.
So no, it really didn't matter because no matter what you did, you would have healed it. At least this way, going back to sleep, you know, you healed it a bit, you passed out. They can't really blame you from
I
there.
mean, one of the players, he goes, "Why is he healing it?" And then the other player goes, "Because he doesn't know what it does." Turns out that every encounter, that player will pull up the monster, so he knew what it did.
Oh, so you found the metagamer.
Oh,
You
it
found...
was so obvious. I don't want
That's-
it. You know what? Do I want to get into cheating stories?
Yes, because
Okay.
I think they're definitely some of the most interesting stories because some people are just very blatant about it,
It was
and some people
super
try
obvious.
to keep it like low key.
Well, this was this guy's first time playing D&D, but to keep it short, which I will get into the long, fun details of it. If you watch like a 10 signs someone's cheating in D&D, he did literally all of those.
He took it as a checklist, like yep,
Basically.
yep.
And like, so
Find someone's cheating at D&D.
like, he sat next to the DM, and he would oftentimes just lean back. And I sat directly across from him. So I saw everything.
Oh, bud. Yeah, I tried to look up 10 ways to see if somebody's cheating at D&D, and it just took me on a different rabbit hole. We're just not going to talk about it.
Okay. Then the one time, I remember this, he was just casually rolling a d20. And I'm just like, and like I saw him doing them, like I knew exactly what's gonna happen. And he just stopped rolling it, and he goes, DM, I want to pickpocket the guy. I rolled a blank.
But you don't get to do that. You don't get to just roll until you get what you want and then be like, yeah, this is what I got. That's terrible. That's so cheesy. I think in real life it's like a lot like when you're playing games locally and you're playing games at a table, it's a lot easier to spot. But like when you're playing online sometimes and people have physical dice, it's hard to be like, I don't believe you rolled that. I don't believe you didn't fetch that number.
Well, that's part of the why I don't like playing online. Because I love using the actual dice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I bought $300 worth of metal dice just because it feels better to roll.
They just make a good sound.
It sounds satisfying. I hear you rolling one.
I rolled a nat 20.
I
I rolled an 18 and
don't know
8
where
and
my
a
dice
natty
are.
20.
Yeah.
And then a 6.
But for the stream, I use these hot pink and 1 gray plastic dice because they make less of a noise when they roll. But
That's why I kind of like D&D Beyond 2 when they implemented the feature, like the game log feature, so you can see exactly what your players are rolling when they roll using the app. before it's just kind of like praying they tell you the truth.
In a lot of ways, you kind of know which players will cheat, and the biggest way that I found is people who ask, "How do you know if someone's not cheating?" They're the ones that cheat.
Yeah. How do you know somebody's cheating? Oh, yeah. No,
And
that
there's the
makes sense.
obvious signs like, oh, they keep rolling 20s
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Like there's being lucky, and then there's you don't roll below like a 16 for an entire session. Like the chances, I mean, there's a possibility of it, but the chances aren't that high. There's no way. And then like a lot of the time, something people don't realize is technically cheating is metagaming, and the knowledge that your character has and the knowledge that you have being different. So, for an example, today in my game we fought against oh god, they had a bullet, I think is what they're called.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Land sharks.
Land
pretty
sharks,
much. Yeah. And I've fought them before. I've knew what they were like before. I knew their abilities. My character, nope, not a chance. So just like, I could just be like, oh, okay, I know what to do. I know how to beat these things. My character's like, what the fuck is that? It came out of the ground. What the fuck is that? We beat them, but you know, it was still like a moment of, I know. She doesn't. She doesn't have a clue.
So, how do you go about avoiding metagaming when you know the answer, the stuff? Let's just use monsters for example. You know what they do and you know how to beat them, but your character doesn't. So because I have my own way of going about it, which is kind of metagaming in the wrong direction.
Yeah, but it's showing that your character, you know it's not going to do any damage. Like if it's resistant to bludgeoning damage without a magical weapon, or if it's let's just say it's resistant to any attack unless it's a magical weapon, and you know that your character's still going to hit it with their sword, their non-magical sword, and then is like, oh, this thing is resistant to magic. You already knew that, but now your character knows it. So
Oftentimes, if I'm playing with, not running for, but playing with new players, I will metagame in the other direction. Where, let's say I'm fighting something that's resistant to fire. I will use a fire spell on it first. It all depends on who I'm playing with. Like, let's say first thing a fire elemental. Well, not fire elemental. It's kind of blatantly obvious that fire won't work. Something that you may not think is resistant to fire.
Like you're fighting an NPC and you don't know they're a fiend.
Yeah.
Or you don't know they're a tiefling or whatever it is.
Exactly. Well, I mean, at that point, it gets to, since me as a player, I don't know that. If let's say we're just fighting a tiefling, I know it's a tiefling, and I know it's resistant to fire, but I'm playing with a bunch of new players who don't realize that. At that point, it's one. Would my character even use fire? If the answer is yes, or maybe, I will use fire to show, hey, there's enemies that are resistant to some type of stuff. That's why it's good to have a variety of like damage types. But yeah, metagaming is a big way people cheat without realizing they're cheating.
Because it's like when you're playing, it's really easy to go, oh, I know this thing, I know how to beat it, I'm gonna do it because I want to win, I want to beat it. If they're like, you have a game that's like super roleplay heavy, you almost need to detach yourself from who you are as a person and what you know, and is like, rationally, I don't think my character's ever fought against doesn't even know what a tiefling is. It has no idea. So if they are a majority of the time they use fire spells, they're probably going to lob a fire spell at it. If they're a barbarian, probably not,
Yeah.
Like they're probably just going to hit it. So it all depends on like all of your character stuff. But you can't just have like a character who's wholeheartedly based in fire magic but has never come across a creature that's resistant to it and go, they're not going to use any of their fire spells. Because like realistically, that's not something your character would do.
And like from a DM's point of view, it's like from being a DM and a player, when I'm playing and I see a monster that I know they have an ability that I know it's not gonna like do anything unless like the swamp things.
Yeah.
My character only like used just lightning damage out the wazoo. But like no one else did any lightning damage. So the thought process that went in my head was, I know my DM put this in here just for me, so I'm gonna give him a little bit of what he wants. And just went, tried it.
And then ZZZ.
Then,
So
go ahead.
when it came to the metagamer, did he hear what you were gonna do and go, wait, like that's gonna heal it? What are you doing? No.
No, I did it, and then he leaned over to his buddy, who's also a vet, and goes, "Why is he healing it?" And then that, like, I'm like, how would he know it heals it? He just doesn't have any reason to know. Turns out, then later, he had all the monster stats up.
Yeah, and if you're really new, I can understand kind of doing that because you don't know better.
We were level 5.
Yeah, if you're level 5, you should know better. You should know you're not there. Like you're not gonna. There's no encyclopedia D&D. Like your character's not gonna have that knowledge unless they have like a monster book in their hand, and it makes like sense for them to have that. But just knowing stuff off the bat and like taking away from being able to learn about things is just stinky.
You said something earlier about being able to detach yourself from your character. That's more than just roleplay game. The role-playing focus games. Yeah. Like, sometimes people, like, they take it personally because they don't detach themselves from the character. That's why I don't like playing human males. Because it, like, I can easily relate to that character. I'm not going to relate to a blue dragonborn.
And that's when you run into another problem, is when people take what the characters do to heart and they don't like, oh, it's just a game. I'm not my character. They're not their character. These are like two different beings. But if like some people will take what you do at the table and take it home with them, and it's like it starts actual conflict when it should be only party conflict, and it should be just in the game. But sometimes you'll run into a person who's just like, oh, you attacked my character for doing this. That's an attack on me. I'm taking it personally. You offended me. And then you're just like, but I'm not.
I've been on
my character.
Both sides of that.
Yeah.
And it's not fun either way. But
yeah. Well, because sometimes people will do that, where they'll take the opportunity to attack you through your character. And it's really disheartening because it makes you not want to play. It really does. I know I played in a one-shot a couple times with this DM, and like I had a dwarf who just didn't identify as a gender. They use they them pronouns. They had a beard and everything. Like you wouldn't be able to tell looking at them whether
it's a dwarf.
Yeah, like you wouldn't be able to tell whether they were male or female anyway. But because I'm female presenting and I have a female voice, just kept referring to my character as she. And I think by the end...
Okay. because I can see like it's just DM speaking to your character, looks at you,
Yeah.
she, or was it like actually like intentional?
That's the thing. I consistently used gender neutral. I used they them pronouns with them the entire time. The other players would use they them pronouns. The DM was the only one who continued to use like she her throughout the thing. I think by the end of it, there were like 12 or 13 times where like he just went she. And I'm just like, buddy, they are not a she. And I would think like maybe after the first couple times and like maybe correcting it, I'd be like, okay, it was just an accident. But to consistently do it the entire time, I'm just like, what?
I can see both sides of that issue. I had my first ever character I made was a female wood elf shadow monk named Rosie. She was a pirate. She was a super alcoholic. But I never got the chance to play as that character as a non-DM PC. Oh yeah, I made the sins of being a DM when I first started.
Oh jeez.
Never again. No more DM PCs.
It's
That's why it's good to have at least one experienced player in the party.
yeah.
But
Because it's really easy to like, if you're just starting DMing, to create like a DM PC to just kind of
babysit.
keep everything kosher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly the point of that character. But the opportunity arose for me, the perfect opportunity arose for me to actually play the character.
Mm-hmm.
And the DM at the time, I never hated having a DM as much as this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It was very clear he didn't read the rules at all. He was just making stuff up. But he didn't, or if he did read the rules and change them, he didn't tell us that. So we're making the character, and my buddy Josh is next to me. We're the only two people in the campaign. And I say to Josh, I was like, you know what? This is a perfect time for me to play Rosie. The campaign's centered around a rundown pirate-based town and whatnot. So it's a perfect opportunity to bring my pirate character and have a chance to play her. The DM goes, you can't play a female character. So I'm just like, what? He's like,
What?
no, it's just weird for me if, not weird for me, it's like, I don't let my male players play female characters. And those for like, because I want to look at you and be able to say he. I'm like, okay. And then I made a bard based off Jack Black.
Good like alternate choice, but like that reasoning is just, I guess, kind of lazy on your DM's part. Like, not kind of, it is lazy. It's just pretty lazy.
I think that like that group lasted only 2 months because then his job changed. And oh my god. You know those like, I never actually learned his name, but like when I would talk,
Just didn't know his name.
I didn't know his name. It was 2 months of playing.
That's okay.
But when I would talk to Josh about the campaigns and kind of complain about it, I would refer to him as Cheese Ball. Okay, you know the giant tub of just cheese balls?
Yeah.
Smelled exactly like one of those.
Oh no.
So that's what I refer to him as.
He's just a big cheese ball.
But the campaign ended, and Like the day it ended was I was about to just text the guy and say, "Look, I just don't want to play anymore."
Yeah. And just happy coincidence. Oh, my job changed.
Oh,
I can't
perfect.
DM anymore. You don't have to worry about it. That's how have you if you ever had to like actually like leave a campaign though due to like reasons where you just didn't vibe with the DM or didn't get along with the party or just like some you didn't feel comfortable anymore?
Not really, because I only ever played in a public space.
Mm.
So
Okay.
one of the previous weeks with Zach and I think, yeah, I think it was all the other guys. I was telling them about players I had to kick out, or well, not.
Oh, well, get
You
stuff
were
like
there?
that too.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there,
No, you
but
weren't there.
like
So yeah, no, there was two people I had to, or two situations I had to deal with as a DM. One of
mhm.
them was so like my main group. It's over half of the people are female.
Ah, okay. I have
It's
a feeling I kind of get where this story is gonna head, and it's going to be something that I've
I
probably
am
dealt with on a personal level
still
too.
friends with the two females in the group. Like we're still in
Hmm.
multiple D&D groups together.
Hmm.
Occasionally, I play League with them and
Yeah.
whatnot. It's my so the group is one of my old friends, the two females, my DM, and then two other people.
Hmm.
One female, and then the other, the issue.
Mm.
So one day, the two females, the two females, they're twins. They,
Hmm.
you know how like everyone sort of has a spot when they sit
Yeah.
in a game.
Yeah.
They took their spots, and when other person showed up, put his stuff down, went to go get a drink, I noticed they swapped spots.
Ooh.
And so like I look up, the other female player notices that, and it's like, and I sort of give her the signal, like, make sure everything's okay and whatnot. And
Yeah.
then later, I messaged, I made like a Facebook group message with the two twins and myself, and just like,
Hmm.
hey, just I noticed this. Is everything okay? Is everything good? And then they basically told me what happened. I'm like, okay. So if it happens again, let me know, and then I'll remove him from the group. But he seems to have got the message. If it will make you feel better, I can provide arranged assigned seating.
Yeah.
So what I did was all three female players were on this table across from me, and then I
Okay.
put my DM next to them, my friend, and then trouble player was next to me.
That's a good way about going about it
Yeah.
too. Is just moving the problem away.
Yeah.
Um.
That completely solved the problem.
Cool. It's one of those issues where um, it's like tale as old as time, right? Where you have this space that because there are so many women who play in D&D. There's so many, but it's still very specific like people who are like mm, girl Dungeons and Dragons. Oh yeah. And you're just like, "Oh yikes." Oh, buddy.
Hmm.
Or like people who play D&D and it's just a dating game to them where they try to like and it's like you're like I'm playing a half orc man and you're flirting with him and it's like no they're flirting with me and I know they're flirting with me and I'm just like uh okay, Gorga brings you to meet his parents, I guess, if that's really what you want to do. And I'm just kind of like, man, I don't want to be here anymore.
I mean, we both were playing, while I was running a game, you were playing in it, and we saw that happen multiple times.
Yeah. And I'm just like, you just go play a dating simulator. Just fucking there's visual novels out there for you, bro. Just go get your rocks off somewhere else. I want story, I want combat. I wanna like do some shit. You wanna go seduce the barmaid or whatever, who's happily married with kids, by the way.
And her
In a
husband
really
runs the bar.
Yeah, in a steady relationship with the
Ugh,
you go for it.
yeah.
Not I'm just gonna put you over there and not take you seriously for the
Well,
rest of forever.
when sort of whenever I have a session 0 with a new player, and I don't know how they're going to react, I make sure to sit down and set all the boundaries. I'm like, all sex-related stuff, it's either I'm saying no, depending on what it is, or okay, it happens, black screen, deal with everyone else, we move on.
Yeah. Which is a really, really good way to go about it too.
Yeah.
Because like there's places where you can have the explicit stuff, but that's not usually a streamed game.
No.
B, not usually with strangers, and C, there's a lot of like you sign forms and stuff.
Yeah.
Like my Tuesday game, which is we're playing like high school kids in their last year at a boarding school, and we're fighting ghosts. It's solving a mystery, fun stuff like that. But our DM gave us like a consent form of stuff we're okay with, stuff we're not okay with. It had like the romance stuff, but it also had like gaslighting, spiders, torture, just like a general red for no, like red is a hard no, yellow is with conditions, and green is you're fine with it.
I mean, spiders doesn't really seem like something. I get people have arachnophobia, but
yeah,
it
covered all its bases, right? Like it went over everything, and then before we started streaming, we went over the list.
Yep.
We talked about what we were okay with, what we weren't okay with. It was a session 0, but not to make characters or anything, because we did all of that on our own and talked to the DM, and then the session 0 prep and the get ready to like go game and stuff was just going over what we're okay with, like boundaries. It's setting boundaries before the game. Some people don't respect boundaries. You're gonna run into them no matter what. But like sometimes you don't know that they're gonna do that until you start playing too.
Yeah. When that happens, as the DM, you just gotta. I'm a fan of the 2-strike system, where it's strike 1, you get a warning, and then if it happens again, you're out of the group.
Yeah, it's a fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because if given a third opportunity, they will take it.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Especially for like the bigs. With the little stuff, it's like, oh, forgetting that a player is whatever, and you forget at the start, and it's corrected, and then you kind of forget again, and then you correct it. Like that's different. But when it comes to like the big stuff, like romance or PC death or PC fighting and stuff like that, it's bad habits that aren't nipped in the bud by other DMs. It's really good to nip players' bad habits yourself, because it sets them up for success with other DMs. Yeah.
That's why these session 0s are super important. Like, honestly, for my session 0s, it's with the group I play with, we did like, because a lot of the players carry over from our Monday game where I run to our Wednesday game where our other DM runs, and I'm a player in his game, he's a player in my game. So session 0, we already know each other's boundaries. Like, there might be a few cases that come up that are all super circumstantial, but for the most part, people will check out. If something comes up where they're not comfortable with, they check out of the game for a moment, they go up to the front, they get snacks, they get minis, and then they come back. And then...
yeah. You talk about it after you go over it, you move on.
Well, like, there's been one or two cases where I personally messaged my DM about stuff that like I wasn't exactly comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Like more, not so much not comfortable with, it's more concerns for the game.
Okay.
Like we got one kid player in, which I'm fine. Like I ran games for kids all the time with the West March game. I'm pretty sure you played in a few of them.
Yeah. I remember, and
Oh, the ones
there's
with
been.
kids.
I stopped one from drinking a mimic. I remember that. I was like, let me. I'm just gonna stick my pinky in it. Let me just see how that goes.
Yeah. No, it was. Yeah. But the kid that joined our game, basically think of a supervillain, and that's how his mindset is.
Oh, oh, kiddo.
Not with D&D, with like life.
Oh.
We have one player that works at a water testing plant.
Okay.
And the kid said to them, so you can poison the water? And then they just go, no, I just test the water. I don't have access to the water. And then this kid goes, well, if you could, that's power. And I'm just like, head in hands then. That whole conversation, I look up to the DM and I'm just like, what's happening?
Like, kids are little sociopaths. Like, you don't really realize it until they say shit like that, and you're like,
However,
what?
like, that's not to say don't play D&D with kids.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, I had a blast. The stuff they come up with is stuff that, like, grown-ups will never come up with. And it's so much fun. Like,
Yeah.
we had one kid in the West March game. He's probably one of my favorite people to play with. He is such a good player.
Oh. Yeah, and I think you have to prepare because kids are very unfiltered.
Mm-hmm.
They're very creative, but they're very unfiltered. So you kind of have to, like, especially because especially with the West March where it's like come and go, you'll get just people from all walks of life, all age ranges, right? So you kind of have to remember, right, not everybody overthinks their words and stuff. Some people will just say what they want to say and say what they need to say. And I like, kids will do that, but you also have to prepare for the intrusive thoughts that just come out.
Oh, yeah.
Because adults, we go, wait, no, that's bad. We shouldn't think that. But kids are like, we could probably just kill them all right now. And you're going like, no, we could, but we shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, depending on how much the players are comfortable with, whenever the kill them all situation comes up, I like to put in a moral dilemma into it, where one example was it was in the West March. I think you were there for the first session of it, where they went to the cave with the dragon, and then kobolds.
No, I was the mimics.
You were there for more than one.
I just made it to the one. I was there for mimic hell.
Oh.
Everything was a goddamn mimic. There was an invisible wall that was a mimic. There was a dead body that was a mimic. I'm just like,
I told that story the other week.
What the fuck? Not everything. This is the like, the joke, the meme where it's like, haha, be careful, it might be a mimic. Everything was a mimic. There was no escaping the mimics.
I love that. I had so much fun running that.
My poor monk who could only punch things just got mimicked. Like, I just had to make, like, what was it, like an athletics or a strength to get out of it.
Yeah.
And then next turn was like, okay, I gotta punch it again. Like, It was ridiculous. It was.
What I found funny when running that, it was like you could see your guys getting more careful room by room, but there was always just a curveball.
Yeah, like the invisible wall. Like the invisible mimic wall. It mimicked an invisible wall and was a mimic. Like I loved it though. I loved that like everything was just
It was
you didn't know.
so dumb.
I think somebody had a staff or something and we were like poking stuff
Yep.
to see if it was a mimic.
Like, well,
Like a
I think after
walking
that happened after the second room, I think. But like, there was stuff that you're like, oh, there's no way this can possibly be the mimic. And it was that you guys wouldn't check, like the dead body.
The dead body was like, okay, it's a dead body, but it was like the scalpel or the shiny thing inside that the mimic had mimicked, and we just went,
Ooh, shiny.
it's over. It's so and
I'm
then
pretty sure I described it as like the rib cage coming up.
you did it like
So, like,
something that
jaw-like?
like holds it. Oh, like yeah, but it was the I can't remember what the name for them is, but the stuff that holds it open was holding the rib cage open.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, and there was the jewel inside, and obviously, jewels, adventurers, come on, you know.
I had so much fun running that.
Yeah, and then we found a little pink vial, and one of the kids was gonna drink it, and I went, let me just dip a little pinky in. Let me just see how that goes.
I think what happened
died.
was, like, the kid got it, and like a little bit of worry came on my face, and then
I think you saw the panic in my eyes too.
Oh, yeah,
because
no.
I had it.
I think I remember us making eye contact, and then it was just, oh no.
We both had the same look of, oh no. Let's just let me put my pinky. I test. Let me test.
Yeah.
Just in case. Let me see if it's if it's acid too. Like you don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just mimic, fucking mimic. Nowhere is
Like,
safe.
it wasn't even the bottle. Like, the vial was not the mimic. The mimic had mimicked the potion inside the vial. It was so dumb, but it was so much fun. But, oh man, where was I? I don't even remember what I was talking about now. Anyways, so, what were some of your favorite characters you got to play?
Well, I play Rune in your game, but he's a modified version of what he originally was, because he was a divination wizard for a different game that I played, but I still wanted to play a wizard. I still wanted to use the name Rune Cinderheart because elf. So he became an evocation wizard?
Evocation.
Yeah. He was just, his stats for your game were very different because we didn't roll. We used the standard array. But he had a 20 or an 18 or a 20 in intelligence. I think it was a 20 in intelligence. He had a 16 in strength. But he had like a 6 or a 7 in wisdom, and I think like a 10 in charisma. Like even like his strength, his strength, his dexterity, his intelligence were super high, but his wisdom, his charisma, and his con were low. I'm pretty sure I made constitution. Oh no, I made his wisdom his dump stat because I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if he just didn't understand people? Like he just doesn't. He just assumes everybody's being honest with him. He doesn't know. Like he just doesn't know. He died session 2 of that campaign, which was pre-planned and everything, but
I already kind of went over Zorn for me.
I would love to play him again as just a dumb idiot.
So Zork, who had minus intelligence, was, and he was the only healer in the group, but he also had negative religion. And I made a self-imposed rule that I can't change spells unless I succeed a wisdom test or in a religion check. And if I did, then I could change my spells. If I didn't, then I can't. So as a joke, I took ceremony. One, so I can walk around with an urn of holy water, of holy seawater. And two, so I can marry people. The only reasons I took the spells, that spell.
You just wanted
And
to marry. That's so.
for the
that's
rest,
kind of wholesome.
the rest of the campaign, I was able to marry people, even though I wanted to just get rid of that spell.
Aw.
I was never able to succeed another wisdom check, or not wisdom check, religion check, for the rest of the game.
Oh, poor Zorn. He just could never change his spells.
Like, I was able to add stuff on when I leveled up. Because I'm not gonna, I'm not crazy. I'm not gonna put myself through that. But I just can't change out what I already have. So, oh man. He died to a white dragon. And early in the session, he lost a frost-resistant shield. He got one hit by a white dragon because he lost a frost-resistant shield, which would have brought him down to...
Oh.
He had 25 max HP, it would have put him down to negative 24, the frost breath.
Oh, bud.
So he got one hit because he didn't have the shield.
Oh, Zorn.
Such
You
a good
poor
character.
bastard. Yeah. I think my half orc Rory was good because she was from an 80s themed campaign where we were it was like roller derby stopping vampires at the mall. It was very kind of modern, but she was like a yoga instructor who, like, for the most part, she kind of just talked like this, like a bro, like, you know, like chill, deep voice. But when she had to do yoga classes, she had her customer service voice.
God.
Downward dog position. So
That's
busting
so
that out,
funny.
I know, busting that out for the first time in front of the other players was shift. The look on their faces when they heard it, the way their eyes just went wide. I went, yes. This is what Dungeons and Dragons is all about. Surprising my friends. It was good.
The character I played after Zorn was a human female paladin, Oath of Vengeance, named Guinevere. I spent a full week trying to learn a Scottish accent to play that character. And trying to learn a new accent is hard. But trying to learn a female accent as this
Yeah.
I didn't get it down. I just spoke softly.
Yeah. At one point you kind of got to go, "Oh god.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do this."
I only had a week, so. But
Yeah.
the thing with that character, she was unnaturally good with attacks. Like, I would often crit, and then I would just dump my highest level spell slot into it.
Oh fuck yeah.
I one-shot an owlbear. I one-shot an ogre with my first attack. Yeah, like not a...
God damn.
Yeah, no, she
That's impressive.
hit like a truck.
Oh, that's good.
And like I broke the one paladin like archetype of dump decks.
That's dex-based paladins can be scary.
Oh no, I gave her +2 dex,
Yeah.
so she could wear medium armor efficiently.
Okay.
And then
Ooh.
to cover the range weakness, I gave her a heavy crossbow.
Ooh.
So she was very much like a the low, not so much low defense paladin. She had lower AC than most paladins, but she hit way harder. And she can actually shoot stuff. She can hit from more than 10 feet away. So.
Aw.
Then she died to a dragon also.
You just lose characters to dragons, like left and right.
I have not had a character survive a dragon encounter.
Technically, me too. She just got resurrected after, or whatever the druid is. Is it resurrect for druids, or is it reincarnate?
Reincarnate.
I think whatever the one where you have to roll a d100 for your race after.
Yeah, reincarnate
is what. Yeah. So she got reincarnated. She died. She straight up. They had to get her body out. She dead. But she got reincarnated. Came back as a human after being a tiefling. After being a human, and then the DM was like, "Psych. You get to be a human for a whole ass day, and then the demon your parents sold your soul to, gonna come and tiefling you up again." And I went, okay.
Hey, that's fine.
This is good. I love character. Oh. Cause like, damn. She went through it. She's still going through it. She just learned that her family, because it was a whole thing, her family wound up turning into a bunch of undeads, and she like burnt the house down, thinking that would solve the problem and get rid of the bodies and everything. Well, it burnt the bodies. Spirits are still trapped there. And that was like, she did that when she was like 12 or 13. And she's 25 now, so.
Having a good backstory like that for a character it's actually pretty... It's really relieving on the DM. But it gives you... It's so much easier to roleplay a character that you give a good backstory.
Yeah.
Like... One of my characters, named Ariondel, was a female Archfey warlock. Her race was the Protector Azamar, I think? The one that can fly.
I think it's Protector. I think 5e has it where for the most part, well no, Fallen can't.
Fallen
they have
can't
skeletal
and
wings.
Scourge can't.
Yeah,
There's only one, so be the Protector then. But when I was rolling her stats, I rolled 3 really good stats and 3 negative stats. So in my genius mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give myself a negative constitution. And -2 con, -2 dex, and -3 strength. Which I made as like, she's an Azamar, but no one realized that. They thought she was human. And a plague came through her village. She survived because of the angelic blood, but she was left like unable to move. But she read books a lot. And then because she lived in like a sort of elven village that was really connected to the Feywild, one of those unicorn bunnies from, I want to say, like, the unicorn bunnies are from Tomb of Annihilation.
Okay, I will believe you. I don't know Tomb of Annihilation, so
They're actually in one of the source books. One of the official books, but it's just a little unicorn. It's just a rabbit with a unicorn horn. And she befriended it, she would read its stories. But a fey goddess, and he took pity on her, said, I can give you the ability to move and powers.
Ooh.
If you go around collecting stories for me. To add to her library. So that was the character's backstory, and she was obsessed with books and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the backstory, I throw a little curveball to my DM, and she named the rabbit Zork after my first character. So then he's reading it, and he goes, I really like it, but why is the rabbit named Zork? I'm like, Now you get to decide, was the entire first campaign just a story? Or whatnot? And then, like, I'm just there with my, like, my shit-eating grin. And he goes,
Did it even happen?
yes, it actually happened. So then it was canon that my first character was named after another character from a book.
Oh, that's cool.
So that book links my first character and my third character.
That's awesome.
So
It's always really interesting. I'm kind of hit or miss when it comes to like writing backstories for my characters, because Persephone, Trust, Sasha Nightsong, I came up with a lot to just come up with why she's a tiefling, and why she doesn't like touch. So I came up with a whole backstory for her. Rune, I came up with a bit. He had rich rockstar, not Rune for this, but Rune from before. He had rockstar parents and came to the school where he sort of reinvented himself. Zephyr, I just wanted a fucking character with a gun. I made a fuckboy with a bullet machine, and that's all I wanted. I just found out he has 2 parents last Tuesday, last session. So good to know I have parents that are alive.
that's Endure an Adventure? Wow.
Yeah. We're at an adventuring academy.
Ah, that's why. That's why.
Yeah.
Once you
They're not-
graduate, they die. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's
then,
such a cheesy curveball to throw.
God, Holly, who is my half Eladrin, half dwarf, because I went, what is the most chaotic combination I can create? Who is a wild magic barbarian and a
Yep.
tempest cleric.
Yep. Tempest clerics are fun.
So she has a twin sister, and her parents are basically mafia bosses, and that's all I came up with. And she's the family disappointment because she's a party girl, party person. And then the DM was like, hey, this is Hillary. She's going to be playing your sister. And I went, but why? Oh, no. And just like the DM fleshed out all the details based on what I gave them. Because I was also in a position where when I was DMing, I had a player give me everything. How characters behaved, like etiquette rules for the village they're from, and I'm like, great, I loved it. I had to find a way to put it into my own world,
Yeah,
you know?
that's the thing. When coming up with a backstory, it's sometimes best to keep it somewhat generic.
Yeah.
Or
Like
work with your DM to write it.
It was really cool, but it's just when I didn't play one of the family members the way she thought I was going to, she like DM'd me after, was like, yeah, this was weird, this isn't how she would have behaved. And I went, but wait, isn't it, like, I understand it's one of your characters, but isn't it supposed to be one of my NPCs? So I haven't really DM'd since, because I've just been overthinking and over worrying about not doing stuff.
I started to I made like a booklet that I fill out whenever I do my characters. It's like first page, I find a picture just on Pinterest, on Google, of what my character roughly looks like, as close as I can get. And then like I have like hair color, eye color, weight, height, description, the hometown, the race, the class, the age, the name, all on the first page. Then it goes, then next page is like all the ideals and whatnot. And then to sort of like get the sense of who the character is, I put quotes like of what the character would say. And then it goes backstory, and then so the DM knows everything I can do, I will go online, copy and paste all the abilities I have. Yeah, no, Matt's in chat right now, and he says, dude, your one character was presented like an ISU. I loved it.
That's awesome. That's some good shit.
So it's basically like everything of who the character is the backstory, and then all the mechanics that the character can do. And I think I put my character sheet in there as well. And then this was for the character I was trying to make Scottish, Guinevere. And then I also just put like, because I put a bunch of what she called certain things. So she called the great sword a claymore or a Zweihander.
Oh.
So I had a full page of that.
Okay.
And then I just put there was like half a page of just swears and insults that I just would casually drop in throughout the game.
And so your DM knows what the fuck you're going on about. Yeah. That's really good. Yeah, I'm chaotic. I'll come up with a character based on a concept first, and then just kind of flesh them out from there. But for the most part, I like figuring stuff out while I'm playing. And if I people who can come up with 300-page backstories for your characters, cool, good job. I like figuring it out as I go. I like being able to shape things as I move.
Well,
You know.
The way I make characters is I'll find one piece of inspiration, build off that, and then write a backstory to fit that. It could be off a song, a movie, a game. Straight up just a picture. I came up with character concepts when I'm going through finding pictures for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can... No, I don't know which one's gonna be which. All of the intro scenes you guys see with the stream starting, and it's those characters when we're doing the class breakdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Those are stuff I'll save for inspiration.
Yeah, and it's good because a lot of good characters can come from just seeing a picture and being like, I wonder what kind of class they would be. I wonder how they got that scar, and just being able to work off of that.
Sometimes, for me, because I do a lot of miniature painting for Warhammer in D&D. So sometimes, I'll see a mini and buy the mini because I want to play that character. And I'll paint them up as such.
Mm-hmm. I think once COVID goes down, I might actually buy a mini and paint it because I don't have all my D&D is online. I've
literally within arm's reach.
Yeah.
I have. Keep going.
The only time I've played D&D in person is when I've played with you at the school and stuff.
Yeah.
That's been it. And it's a totally different vibe when you play in person.
Well, I love it so much more.
Yeah.
I think that's all the mini. I have more of those spearmen and a second horse right here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's all the minis I have. But I have my paints all around and whatnot. I can literally reach over one of my dry brushes. But metallic paints and all that jazz. But I'm deep into the hobby. I'm too deep to go out.
Yeah, I like the little light there, bud.
Oh yeah, that was an impulse buy.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Stuff like this.
Ooh.
You get 4 minis.
Oh wow.
They're slightly larger than... These are 32 mil bases, so they're slightly larger than the inch grid. But you get 4 warriors and a wizard in this. And mind you, these are they're literally chaos warriors for Warhammer. So they're evil looking, but
yeah. But you can really paint them up whatever way you want.
Yeah, I painted one of them purple. Has purple
Good
armor.
color. That's an excellent choice.
So, yeah, but there's plenty of stuff you can do for like in that sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's your favorite memory as a DM?
Oh. I think it's I had players who just didn't combat, who didn't really want to fight the monsters and just charisma'd their way past the guard. The rolls were good and their explanation for how they wanted to charm the guard was good. And I went, you know, that's good. The guard just lets you in. You're a bro now. The guard's like, good luck in there, pal. I'll check out your cult later or whatever. And just, I think it's moments where they choose not to fight. I'm just like, yeah, you just avoided an encounter that probably would have TPK'd you because you're smart.
Oh man, one of the highlights for me was I like to do a lot of foreshadowing in my games. And Matt, who's in chat's the player in this case. But so the campaign was based around his character. Like, he was the main character. All the players ahead of time agreed on it.
Okay.
But I described one of his dreams as they're taking refuge in an abandoned temple. And it was like, you see like you're on the back of a dragon, or no, it was you see yourself standing in front of a dead dragon and people bowing to you, and then you see a beautiful angel pick you up and take you to heaven. And then Matt, the genius he is, he just said, oh shit, he knows what's coming. He goes, I need to kill a dragon, have sex with an angel, and then I go to heaven.
You know, that's fair. That is a fair assumption.
It's completely fair.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would also get that from the dream. Maybe not the sex part, but definitely the kill the dragon part. Like, that's good. Good job, Matt. Yeah,
But,
no, that's really good. Just like sprinkle it in their sleep.
It's
Like sex with an angel.
And we play in a store, and he yells this. Not like the top of your lungs, but like still yelled
Loud
it.
enough.
Loud enough where the other table heard it. Ironically enough, that was a very common theme in the other table's game.
Having sex with angels?
Yep, I'm not joking. So then after the session ended and we're leaving, one of the players come up to us and goes, so your game sounded like ours for a bit.
10 out of 10.
Oh man, it's forever gonna be a highlight for one of my games that I ran. But just stupid shit like that makes it all worth running games for.
And that's the thing I like too, where it's like once you get to like everything's serious, but you still like need those moments of like tension breaking just to like remind people, hey, it's a fucking fantasy game. Dumb shit's gonna happen. And just cut the edge, you know?
Yeah.
Cut the tension a bit.
Still, one of my favorite characters to play was Zorn, because he was the comic relief. And everything he did, the stupid shit he would do is in character. He lived in Waterdeep, and he had he lived in the Temple of Umberlee, but like, there was a one-sided rivalry between him and the Monk Temple, as in like, he saw the rivalry, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So the one time the players go in there to talk, and all Zorg does is knocks over a vase and leaves. Like, blatantly obvious, just knock, and just walks out.
Oh man. Oh, Zorn. You probably should have died a lot sooner than you did, bud.
Oh man. But for the rest of the campaign, because like he was very much a zealot to Umberlee, which for those that don't know is like sort of it's a evil god of the sea, like the god that will send waves to destroy ships just because. But later on in the campaign, in the fight where Guinevere died, there's a bunch of dark elves who also worship Umberlee. And we go into the temple, there's a sleeping shadow dragon. And then we just hear like a sound coming, and it was just a bunch of dark elves with bowls of water just
Oh my god. What the fuck?
It was so funny.
Oh, I guess there's ways to worship, and that's one of them.
Oh man, I think it's just because like a part of the reason that happened is because Matt's like really only experience with Umberlee worship was Zork, and he did it completely wrong.
Oh my god.
But he was still like favored. But like it was just a running joke through the whole campaign.
That's some good shit.
Oh. I remember that Zork thought the ritual was you had to be submerged underwater for 3 days instead of 3 hours.
Oh.
So Zork, in his backstory, completed the ritual, but he did it for 3 days, not 3 hours.
So he got the ritual done in the 3 hours, like it was done.
Yeah.
But he didn't get the memo. He
didn't
get
the memo. 3 days. Got it. Let's go.
Got it. Let's go. I got this. Good lord.
Oh, it was...
Because you can't breathe.
No. That's what happened. It happened in the backstory.
Okay. You don't have to think about it when it's in the backstory.
Yeah, I didn't have to worry about it. It's like, I'm putting this in the backstory, but it's going to be funny. But, oh my god.
I guess his faith was just that strong that Umberlee went. He thought it was... You're done. You're still...
Okay.
That's some devotion. Okay. You can stay under there.
And then in his backstory, he met another player's character, and so on the ship, someone like cursed Umberlee, so Zorn cut off their left hand, threw him overboard, and he just continued to wear the left hand around his neck. Like Zorn stunk. He literally smelled like rotting bodies. Because he had severed left hand as a necklace. He walked around...
Not even preserved?
Nope. He walked around with a headdress that he carved from a guard drake, but he didn't like treat it properly. It was just he cut off the head, took out the insides, put it on. Then the one time him and his buddy character went hunting. They got deer, and he just took off the antlers and attached it to the headdress. He tied a talking skull to the headdress, but he didn't think it was the skull talking. He thought it was the headdress talking to him.
This dumb motherfucker.
-2 intelligence.
Good God.
So funny.
I'm impressed because that's like when you have a stat like charisma or wisdom or intelligence that's just so low, it creates some really good moments because it's like,
well, it's also how you roleplay it.
Yeah, you don't know how, but by complimenting the bartender, you managed to really offend her, and now you're wearing the drink you were being made.
Yeah.
But I just said she was pretty. Yeah, but you rolled a 2.
Yeah, it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, he had actually, I think, pretty good charisma.
Well, he was a cleric, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, he was a cleric. The skull turned out to be a demi-lich. So he was walking.
Just wearing a jacket. Zorn shouldn't be shouldn't have lived. Shouldn't have lived to be killed by a dragon.
No.
Should not have lived.
I mean, his animal handling was also really bad. It involved him punching it. And the animal that made him lose the shield was a wyvern.
Oh, buddy.
So, animal handling. We're flying up. We're playing the first book, Order of the Dragon Queen.
Okay.
And there's a part in that book, spoilers, where you have to fly up to a flying castle.
Okay.
I don't know if in that book there's the white dragon in the castle or not, but flying up there we used wyverns. Zork was riding one. He rolled bad to like control it and started like trying to shake him off. So his answer was to punch it in the back of the head. And it booted him off, flew off, and Zork's falling. And then his buddy, the player that played his buddy character, he goes, "It'll be funny if you rolled to see what you lost. Only thing I lost was the shield."
Oh. That feels bad.
Oh. Later,
Rest in pepperoni.
and he died later that session.
Yeah.
The player was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry I suggested that." I'm like, "Dude, it was hilarious."
Yeah. Because out of all the things that could have happened, losing the shield that you needed to survive.
Oh no, like, if I had that shield, I would have lived by 1.
Oh my god. Imagine if Zorn had lived, what could have been.
Oh no, it was earlier in this thing I said if I had the shield I would have lived at -24. Not the case. It did I had 25 health, it did 50 damage. Which is exactly what it needed to one-shot me.
Yeah. Oh shit. Why is you at 25 health going to fight a dragon?
I rolled for health and I always rolled a 1 or a 2. Like, consistently. The deck of many things came into that game. So, one time I rolled for health, I got max. And I was ecstatic. It was going from levels 3 to 4. I pulled a card from the deck of many things and went down a level.
Oh no!
But like I pulled, the other card I pulled was if I kill something by myself, I automatically go up a level. So I go into the forest, kill a squirrel, level up, roll a 1. So all that happened for me that session was I lost HP. I lost maximum HP.
Poor buddy. He tried so hard.
Oh, so much fun.
Oh, it's raining out.
Yeah.
Nice. Poor
So
Zorn.
much fun. I still have the mini, but it's in the other room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just playing that character was so much fun. Definitely my favorite character I played.
I'm trying, because there are campaigns that I didn't really get to play in much, or that I made the conscious decision to leave based on like other players and other issues, or I just lifed. But it's just character, like, I wish I got to play my Divine Soul Sorcerer orc, because I just wanted to make a sorcerer orc.
I hate it. I hate it. Oh my god, I love it. I hate it and I love it.
Because her whole thing was that every time she tried to be charming or charismatic, it was an intimidation check. Because she's this giant orc woman who was raised by talking wolves.
You want to play a Sork.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost as bad as playing a lizard folk wizard that only uses ice magic.
Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any sense, but it's like
No, because it's a
funny.
Because it's a blizzard lizard wizard.
Because it's a meme. Because it's a fucking meme. And I love that. I love joke characters. I think more people need to make joke characters. I think it's way more entertaining that way.
You gotta be careful with making a joke character, because then that's all the character is. You can make a comic relief character that's can be serious.
I think that's more what I mean.
But yeah.
Like Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender, where he started out as just a fucking joke and then had some of the best character development throughout the series. He's still the funny guy.
Yeah, like, you don't always have to play a super serious, straightforward character. It's actually really fun to play characters that have layers.
Such silly things too, like Rune's a vegetarian. I don't know why. He just is. He just doesn't eat meat. And then we keep having to kill things for rations, and Rune is just like, I'll starve, thanks. Like I'm good. Watching somebody kill a baby griffin. No,
Oof.
I think I'll pass. That was when I realized I needed to dumb everything down, because I'm like, oh god. We're murder hobos, but we're not murder. You know what I mean? We're like borderline murder hobos, and I'm like,
it's you guys are like, you know the pit of which is murder hobo, and you're walking along it, and you know, like you're super.
I'm on the other side of the pit.
You're super.
I'm on. Yeah, I'm like on the other side of the pit watching this happen. Like, don't do it. Don't jump. Don't do it. And I'm diving in after them.
Yeah. Like, it's the moment when you're by the pool and you see just someone, like, sort of standing next to it talking to someone, and you see someone creeping up.
Yeah. You're just like, oh, I'm gonna have to dive in and save their ass, aren't I?
And the person that they're creeping up on has their phone out. That's the exact moment. Because you're like, don't do it.
They don't see their phone. Do they see the phone? They don't see the. Oh my god!
It's exactly
they don't see the phone.
That's what the Tavern Brawlers campaign is.
Yeah.
I will give the guys credit. Like,
they're doing phenomenal.
Great.
Yeah, they're doing, for having like little to no D&D experience. They're doing really well.
Yeah.
I've been remembering that he has rages to use. Fantastic.
Like, I'm not even talking about mechanically remembering your stuff. I'm just talking about not being a murder hobo.
Yeah. Zach is trying.
Zach, it's a rogue thing.
Zach is also 6 feet tall. Or
6
inches tall, not 6 feet. 6 inch. He's like, I don't know, like,
you know, that
size.
That only came up because he made his character wrong. No, I think it's because he read.
Oh, he misread it.
He misread it, and it just stuck.
Oh, but it's such a good bit, because everybody's like, what the fuck? Why are you so small? And he's like, just built different, I guess. Because he literally is. He was built different.
No sense. Like, and something funny like that, where it's like, yeah, it's not gonna make that. How does he carry stuff? How does he have 50 feet of rope?
He's not even tall enough. Does he have a secret bag of holding? Like, what is happening? Does it just become real people sized when he pulls it out of his bag? What is going on?
And we ignore all of that.
Fuck logic in that sense. This is funnier.
I love it so much.
He's so funny. He's so good.
Like, you can actually see, like, each of the guys, how they developed as players. Andre was going for more of a super serious take of the game, and you see how like from the first few sessions till now, how he's a lot more lighthearted with it.
He's kind of like relaxed.
Yeah.
Picked up on that we're doing bits and we're meeting.
Yeah. Then like Evan is the complete opposite. Actually, I would put Zach in that boat too.
Yeah.
Even though Zach's kind of stuck with this 6-inch bit. But
it's so good.
And yeah, but like Evan and Zach are becoming slightly more serious players.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're
it's really good to see.
meeting in the middle.
Because I hope they play more D&D even after this. Like, I hope they get into games and stuff. Because it's cathartic.
I've been trying to talk Andre into actually playing D&D.
Ooh.
Or Warhammer, just playing like tabletop games for so long.
Yeah.
But obviously COVID you can't.
Yeah, that's one of the downsides. It's because we could in theory just like go to Brimstone, but we can't. Everything's
even once COVID's over, there's a chance we can't because the front of the store got hit by a car and it's not safe.
Oh, right. That did happen. The world, well, I don't know what's happening in the world anymore, but it's like everything that I'm like, okay, we're getting to a good point. It goes, yeah, no, it's getting so much worse. It's getting so much worse. And I'm like, am I the only one not leaving my house? Like, what the fuck is going on?
I have no idea what's like.
Well, we, like, even our cases today skyrocketed to 70 after being like 30, 40.
Wait, 30 new cases? Or 70?
70 new cases.
70 new cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I don't know what's going on with the world. I would like to get off this ride, please. Later. Goodbye.
I just want to play in person again. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel that.
Honestly, I spend so much time just at home, even without COVID. I just want to be able to go play in person.
Yeah. The nuance of it, too.
Mm-hmm. Like.
One day.
Okay, Steamboat, we're just past an hour and a half mark, so a few more back and forth and we should be good to wrap up. So do you have any pre-game rituals?
I put on my elf ears most of the time. If I'm not wearing these headphones, if I'm wearing my buds, I'll put on the elf ears because I'm like, yes, I'm an elf. It gets me in character. But also just kind of like not doing anything before game for a while. Like just letting myself not replying to messages, like not existing, and then looking over my character sheet. I think that's a big one is I'll look over my character sheet a couple times before we actually play. I'll still look at it like the entire time and have it open, but like just refreshing what spells I already have and like the abilities and features that I can do just before we play helps me get into the mindset of, okay, I'm going to be this character for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
So for me, typically, it's everyone in a group, we make bets on how many packs of minis my DM is going to buy. Matt, talking to you there also. It's once Matt walks into the store, everyone we hold up how many fingers of how many packs he's going to buy. Oh, Matt knows.
Oh.
Because we'll say, okay, what did you get?
Dude, what'd you get, bud? How many did you buy?
It's so funny.
Yeah. You miss out on that kind of stuff online too.
Yeah, I miss it. Yeah. Because Matt says, well, he knows. Matt knows. I've told Matt that in person many times. But like just playing in person is so much different than playing online. Like online you don't feel other people's energy.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a lot of guesswork.
yeah. Like, normally when you're playing in person, it's if the players are having a good time, you're having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
With this campaign, there was one session, I don't remember which one it was, that was like, no, I'm not really happy with how this session went. I think I could have done better.
Yeah.
Later that night, Andre messaged me saying that's the most fun he's had in a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, damn.
I guess it went really well. I
Yeah.
guess I was just
Like, I miss being able to play in person.
Yeah.
Because, like, you guys can barely see my facial expressions with this.
Yeah.
You at least have good lighting.
I've got like 3 different lights on right now. It's really my room is sweaty.
I have the ceiling light above me, my background D20, and occasionally I just use my big mini painting light that has like a magnifying glass in it. So,
Yeah.
then I have a candle there, but you can't really tell.
Because it would also be just because we would have character sheets, right? We would have the papers and we would have physical dice, and it's just the different kind of feel of it when you can roll dice and like everybody kind of, especially if it's an important roll, you can feel everybody holding their breath as you throw it, and you kind of there's still that a little bit online, but you kind of lose it because it's not. You don't see the person making the roll. You don't see the tension. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna click the button and roll the dice now, and cross my fingers.
Well, something that, okay, so right now, Matt is running like a placeholder game until we get back to normal. I don't know what game system it is. It's not D&D. It's extremely deadly. Like, I lost 2 characters already.
Oh wow.
But you also start with like 1 HP, so if anything happens to you, you're just dead.
Ooh, you just die. Like you don't.
We're
no
not.
second
You don't
chances.
start as adventurers. You start as like NPCs,
Oh.
and then you become like you're like adventurers.
Yeah, you're playing your backstory pretty much.
Yeah, essentially. But
That's cool.
the one time,
Is it Dungeon World?
I don't know. I cannot tell you what it's called because I don't know.
Okay.
If Matt lets me know what it's called, I'll say it. But essentially, it recommends you start with 4 characters. And if I don't know if you tried role playing 4 player characters before, it's super hard. All I do is like, okay, you're gonna be my guinea pig until you die.
Yeah, I basically for my Tuesday game, I basically play 3 because the main plot's on hold, so we made new characters for a side story. But my character that died is technically kind of not dead, so there's still like side story stuff with the DM that we do one-on-one with. So I have to rotate between like 3 very different personalities, and I get like whiplash. So by the end of Tuesday, I'm just kind of like this. I'm just like I'm not a person.
Yeah, so you are playing them all at this. Are you playing them like all at the same time, or like you cut from one to the other?
It's kind of cut from one to the other because there were times where I'm playing 2 at the same time because Rune would come up. We would cut from like Holly to Rune stuff pretty simultaneously. But for side story, I get to play 1 character. I only have to think once. My brain is only one thought.
Okay. I want to put this idea into your head. So 4 characters, all simultaneously, that you know nothing about.
I
over text.
What the fuck? I can't. Like maybe because it's over text, maybe it might be a little bit easier to kind of, but still.
Well, for me, because I'm a pretty slow typer, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
But so what I do is I say, okay, this character is going to do everything until they drop. Everyone else is background. They're just there.
I guess
and then
that's a good way of Yeah, that's a good way of doing it though. That way you're not getting the whiplash of playing like two different people and then getting confused at like character relationships and
Well,
like
it's also because like once it's done and they become adventurers, I'm not going to play the other two. I'm only playing the one.
yeah, that's true. So why develop like three or four different people when you're only really aiming to play the one person?
I don't, mind you, I don't know if that's how it works. I mean, so far, I'm the only player that has lost characters, so as I'm concerned, I'm up two to everyone else.
Somehow you're losing but you're winning.
Well, like, okay, so out of my four characters, three of them only have 1 HP. One of them has four.
Okay.
So naturally, I'm leaving that one to the end.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
You
my
would
first
wanna...
character, it came up like we had to come to a door, and then if you try to force it open, like a beam of light will come out and shoot out. So, guess who was the guinea pig for that? Character one.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But
May as well lose not the one with the good health.
the best part about that was because another character was in there with me, and they had a shovel that they're using this to like sort of block the light because we already knew it shot light. But the thing was, okay, it's definitely not a push door. Is it a pull door? Because you know how that can get. So my character, I don't exactly remember what happens, but he goes to pull in the door, like they tie a rope to it, and they pull on it. The character with the shovels in front. The shovel like reduces the impact. That character lives. Then my character gets hit by 8. So he died 8 times over. It was just evaporated. Matt says it's Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Okay. I might have to look into that because it sounds interesting. It sounds like something that would be fun just to have like in the meantime.
Yeah. Well,
For
like
some stuff.
the other day, I picked up the starter set for Starfinder,
Ooh.
which is a game I want to try, but I want to try it in person.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
honestly, playing other role playing games other than D&D, or even different editions of D&D that aren't 4th edition,
Yeah.
super fun.
That's the thing about like D&D becoming like wildly popularized. It's D&D 5e that's
Yeah.
become the most like wildly popular one. So that's what when you say D&D, that's what most people immediately go to. But playing other TTRPGs like Apocalypse World, Monster of the Week, Monster Hearts, Starfinder,
What's the superhero one called?
oh god, I
man.
wish I knew. I have one that's called Part-Time Gods, where you have a spark of divinity, and you get to like build your pantheon and become ascended god.
I think that's what the other table is playing on Mondays when I run.
Part-Time Gods?
I think so.
I have to look into the Mondays because I wanted to DM it, but I would much rather play it.
Yeah.
I have the source book, but I'm as much as I like DMing, I'm a player. I'm a forever player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people are forever DMs. I'm a forever player.
Well, luckily for me, wait, Matt says they're playing Champions.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think. All he said in chat was Champions, so I'm assuming that's what
Yeah. Okay.
he's going off of.
It's still interesting to just get outside the mindset of 5e and 5e rules because in a way 5e has a lot, but it's kind of limiting in what you can do.
Okay.
Because everything like boils down to a skill.
So the other table is playing Scion.
Scion.
Psion.
Okay.
Superhero game, I'm assuming is Heroes Unlimited. The one I was thinking of was Mutants and Masterminds.
Okay.
There's a Pokemon fan tabletop RPG.
Oh, I played a Mystery Dungeons one, a Mystery Dungeons Pokemon TTRPG. That was a lot of fun. It's a shame that DM was a creepo. It was a fun game. And that's the downside, is sometimes
My first
get
DM I
bad
played
ones.
was a creepo,
yeah.
and like that's where I met the twins.
Okay.
That they it's actually because like I had them on Facebook. I had them as friends on Facebook because of that campaign, and then that campaign ended because one, the DM insisted we played 4th edition, which
I heard 4th edition wasn't very, very.
it
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Yeah. That's what I heard Pathfinder came because of the sheer dissatisfaction
Yep.
of 4E.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then, like I think 2 years later, I started my Monday game. Like I joined Matt's game, and I think then a few months later, I started my Monday game. And then when the store was looking for players for me, it's like, hey, two girls want to join your game. I'm like, yeah, just have them send me a message on Facebook. And I kind of already knew who it was.
Yeah.
But I was just waiting for like the 100% confirmation. So then it's like, yep, nope, you guys are in. I played with you before. I know you guys are good.
That's awesome. I think.
There's been, but then they told me a creepo story about that DM, the first DM. I'm like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. That's because, like, I feel like DMs are a dime a dozen. Most people would rather play than DM. So you wind up with a lot of, like, DM horror stories, you know?
Diamond
But they're
dozen's
bad.
not the term. It's, what's the term for being super rare?
1 in a million?
Well, yeah. It's
Kind of.
oftentimes the DM rather be a player.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of why I like the Monday game and the Wednesday game works out, because Monday I get to run the game, Matt gets a chance to play, and then Wednesdays I play and Matt runs, so it prevents burnout on both of our ends.
Yeah. You get to rotate too.
Yeah.
Like it's a good way to do it. Or even if it's one day, but you just have rotating DMs, like it's West March style, but it's more campaigny
Well,
in a way.
with the since you brought up West March, Matt is the other DM for the West March. It just so happens that there was a time when I was only running, and then there was a time where he was only running, and now we're just both like, I don't want to deal with this online.
Yeah.
So we put a hiatus on it, and then depending if when things go back together and how we feel about it, we might restart it with season 3.
Okay. But it all depends on so many just variables that are just up in the air right now.
Yeah. But
Yeah, life.
yep.
Cut it out.
Is there any other things you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I think we went over everything that I wanted to talk about, because we talked about some horror stories. We talked about our favorite moments, our favorite characters, and then we went off on the tangents that followed.
Yeah.
So we covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Like, we talked about how you know somebody's cheating, which is a lot easier in real life. It's pretty easy online, because it's just like if somebody's only rolling physical dice, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
something's kind of sus. But
I mean,
no,
like, even
we
with
went over
online
everything.
games, the online games, I prefer to roll physical dice.
Yeah.
My DM, well, Matt, and the other players know there's no point of me cheating. I just like
Yeah.
rolling it.
And that's when you know
But
somebody's like when you've played with somebody enough and you know it's completely different. But if it's
yeah.
like you get a feeling and you're
Mhm.
like this, there's no way. You're especially if somebody gets like super defensive too of like what they're doing, like what their character's doing, what they're rolling, like stuff like that. It's like, okay, you're getting really defensive over something when you could just be like, oh, I'm not cheating. This is just how I've been rolling.
Yeah,
You know?
that's like at that point you go, okay, as the DM you just go, okay, just roll online from now on.
Yeah.
And just sort of like push it under the rug, but just like, look, I don't care if you are or you aren't, just roll online to keep the peace.
And if they refuse, then it's like, okay, well then later, B. Bye bye.
Oh, Matt, don't worry, I did. He goes, oh, did you go over someone? Over the someone who was cheating? No names?
No names.
No names.
No names. But yeah.
Oh, okay. I have to go. I mean, before we wrap up, just one more cheating story.
Hell yeah.
So, I brought up the Shadow Dragon before. That's what TPK'd us.
Ooh.
But the reason we got TPK'd is because the rogue player, the cheater, decided to use. He had 3 invisibility potions.
Mm-hmm.
He kept one for himself. So I alerted the dragon because, paladins and stealth aren't good friends.
Right.
I just so happened to be standing one square away from another character. The dragon saw me, breath attack, one shot us both.
Oh shit.
And then this guy goes, Matt, how did you do 30 or 60 something damage with 16d6? And
How do you know they were 16d6, bud?
and then
Run it.
everyone's like, what? And he has the monster stat block on his phone. And then I'm just like, dude, that's the average roll. I forget what the roll was,
Because
but
you don't, because the stat block and stuff will also give you like the damage that you can just do.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to roll it.
It was like 1 or 2 off. It was lower than that number.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but it one-shot me, one-shot the other player. It one-shot me by 1, by the way, and I failed my save by 1.
Oh, wow.
Because shadow dragons, if they drop you to 0, you're dead. And you come back as a shadow and you can fight the other players. Which I took great pleasure in doing.
Makes sense.
And then that shadow died and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna chill the rest of the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're talking about the game after, and Matt goes, if Luke's character didn't get one shot, that was a super easy fight. His Paladin Smite does radiant damage. If I crit, I would have one-shot it.
But unfortunately,
Nope.
you died.
I died.
So I'm guessing the rogue player got their comeuppance and died? Or did they run away like a pussy?
They ran away. They survived.
Like a pussy ass motherfucker.
Or did they die? I don't remember. 1 or 2 characters lived. But after that, there was a big implosion, and that's not something I'm going to get into.
That's valid. That's very fair. God.
But, oh my god, that came up, and it was just like, he's outing himself for cheating, and he doesn't even know it yet.
He doesn't even realize what he's done. But he just basically went like, oh, you shouldn't have been able to do this, but it's like, so what was it, 16d6 or
Do you have the monster manual on D&D Beyond?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll look up a shadow dragon.
Look up the shadow dragon that's in the monster manual.
Shadow dragon.
Matt, because you weren't here earlier when we were talking about it, I brought up the fact that he would conveniently... Okay, the rogue lived. So I brought up the fact that he conveniently would just lean back as whenever he sat next to you. The one time, I don't know if you caught it, but he was rolling dice, and then when it landed on something he wanted, he would use that as his roll.
It's 16d6. So
16d6?
If I just use 16 times 6 is 96.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to do 60 damage on. Like, that 96 damage is max. So it's pretty easy to just be able to do 60-something damage.
Right. So that campaign, I think, was Matt's first time running 5th edition. Like, he's ran stuff before. Matt, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. But early on, we got a +4 longsword. Which, for those that don't know, it's not really something... Normally it only goes to +3. And Matt just said in chat, there's still a +4 longsword somewhere in the Underdark campaign. Because we died in the Underdark campaign 1.
Oh, shit.
And then
So
campaign 2, we were in the Underdark. But that never came up. But...
I've rolled 16d6, like...
And?
3 times? Well, I got a 39, a 49...
Okay, yeah, so the number was around the 30s.
63.
The damage that we took was around 30s.
Yeah, but it's very believable because it's 16 d6.
Yeah.
I have, like, what do you mean, how did you do that? It's math.
Yeah, like... I don't know.
If he had just, like, had a calculator on his phone, too, he could have, like, just Googled it. He literally could have just did, like, to figure out what the max damage is. Yeah. But instead he outed himself as a stinky poo-poo cheater.
Yep. I mean, like... I think everyone knew he was cheating.
Yeah.
I think I was the only one that cared enough about it. But also at the same time, it was just super funny to me just to watch him cheat.
Yeah. It's also, like, you don't want to be the one to cause, like, problems, right?
Oh, let's not get into that.
Never mind. You do seem like a little shit eater who would cause problems at a table. Just kidding.
Oh, man.
LOL.
Okay. All I'm going to say about it is I understand that some of it was my fault, and I apologize for that.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't apologize for the stuff that wasn't.
Which is fair, and you shouldn't. But...
Yeah, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's inevitable.
So, Sunday, we'll continue off where we left the campaign, which is the party being surrounded by orcs as they entered an orc village in the ravine and walked into a random orc's house who was sleeping.
We're so fucked. We're so fucked. We're so screwed. It'll be fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out next time.
I mean, if you want, you guys can end the campaign right here. Just gotta be a little bit trigger happy.
I do have Witch Bolt.
One target. That's all I'm gonna say. Witch Bolt's a one target.
I know.
You're up against a full village. You're level 2.
I do have Thunder something that's cone. Thunderwave. I think that's it.
Once again, full village.
I'm not the one you have to worry about if we're being honest here.
I know.
So we're gonna it might be where we end. We'll find out on Sunday.
Yep. Take care.
Bye-bye.